Good afternoon, or it's afternoon for me at least. My name is Christopher Evan Hutcheson, and I am the Associate Pastor at Bear Creek No. 1 Baptist Church. We are a Southern Baptist church, being part of the Franklin County Baptist Association up in Northwest Alabama. I'd like to go back to my entrance into the military first and bring you up to where I am today, because when I think about it, I see it kind of like God has called me out of something so as to call me to something, if that makes sense. I enlisted to active duty in the Air Force in May of 2011. My first duty station after basic training was Camp Darby in Italy, and then I PCS to Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. And I will say, when I look back on those first 4 years in the military, I have plenty of regrets, actually. I was good at my job, but as for my off-duty time, I fell into the overseas ammo culture of drinking and partying too much. When it came time to leave Guam, I got orders to Cannon Air Force Base in 2015, which, I'll just be honest, I was not really excited about at the time. My wife, whom I had been dating off and on since our senior year of high school, moved to New Mexico with me, and we got married in 2017. In total, we were at Cannon Air Force Base for 6.5 years. But really, when I look back on it, what I thought was going to be the worst place to go ended up being the exact place in which we needed to go as a family. It was there in Clovis, New Mexico, that my wife and we both reconnected with our faith in a way in which we hadn't in a long time. What I later came to know was that my wife was meeting with another woman from church, and they were praying together for about a year that I would come back to the Lord, that I would put down the childish things, and that I would grow into the man that God wanted me to be. We became members of First Baptist Church there in Clovis, New Mexico. It's now renamed Restoration Baptist Church. And God used the prayers of my wife and the men in the church who poured into me as a means of setting me back on the path which I had strayed from all those years ago. Little did my wife know at the time, but she was actually going to get more than she bargained for with her prayers, because a couple of years later, in 2019, the Lord put it on my heart and my mind what I thought was Him calling me into some form of ministry. In 2019, my wife and I were very involved in the church. I was on the worship team. I play guitar and I sing. We were part of a very active small group, and I was doing one-on-one discipleship with a friend from church. And I began having the conversation with my wife about going into ministry. After 4 months of speaking at length with my wife, with my pastor, my friends, and family, and they all confirmed to me what I thought to be true, that the Lord was indeed calling me to this. And at the same time, I was speaking with chaplains on base about their ministry. One of the chaplains at Cannon Air Force Base went to our church, and I spent a lot of time in discussions with him. And pair that with the way in which I was now caring for people as an NCO. And I was exposed to a way in which I could continue to serve and care for airmen, but do so as a ministry. And when I go back and think about all of this now, I can see how the Lord was at work, right? Because often we don't realize it in the moment, but it's only in hindsight where we can see His hand at work. And that's what I think about when I think of our time at Cannon. So after all of these discussions with everyone and much prayer, my wife and we then made the decision that we were going to pursue this until the point in which it either became a reality or God closed the door somehow. And that's what we've been doing for the past 6.5 years. Practically, that looked like me finishing my bachelor's degree in Christian studies while I was still active duty. I transitioned into the reserves in 2022 to go to the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary and to serve in ministry full-time. I started as the discipleship training director in September of 2022 at Bear Creek No. 1 Baptist Church, where I was then ordained to associate pastor in February of 2024. And really, I think it's worth saying that even during all these years, even after deciding that we were going to step out in faith and pursue this calling in 2019, my desire to serve as an active duty chaplain has never wavered. That desire has done nothing but grown over the past 6.5 years. I have a heart for our military. I have a heart for active duty service members. I have been there. I have done the deployments. I've done the time away from family. I've spent years overseas, been put in stressful situations. I've struggled with the pressures of fitting in, with battling against pre-existing cultures within a workplace. And I feel that I can relate to what our airmen are going through. And I hope and I pray that I am afforded the privilege of coming alongside and serving our fellow airmen as a chaplain. I thank you for your time, and I pray nothing but blessings over you and your family. Thank you.